Greetings everyone, welcome to Just Advance. This game is from Checkmate USA India versus USA match that happened today. And with the black pieces, we have now the current reigning world champion Gukesh, and with the white pieces, we have Hikaru Nakamura. Really, Gukesh has nothing to lose in this. I mean, we have already lost the series 4-0, where we had many chances, but the thing is that a lot of the things that should have gone our way did not go our way. Sometimes it's not your day, and that's absolutely fine. But what will happen against Gukesh versus Hikaru Nakamura? That's going to be the thing. So here with the white pieces, Hikaru starts with e4. We have c6, d4, and d5. He goes for the Karukan. We have e captures, c captures, bishop to d3, and now just going for knight to c6. Now c3, e6, bishop to f4, and just bishop to d6, asking for a trade. We see a trade, and now just going for this knight to f3, knight to e7, and here just castles, rook to e1, and here just going for bishop to d7, knight bd2, knight to g6, c4 now. And the thing is that instead of the c4, you could have gone for this knight to g5, where you would be threatening and trying to just go for this. And with the bishop already here, it looks very, very dangerous, but he did not go for this. He chooses to go for c4, rook a to c8, a3. Now d caps on c4. We have knight caps on c4, attacking the queen. Queen goes all the way back to b8, and here just d5. So going for the central thrust, e captures, bishop captures, and just h captures was played, but now just comes queen caps on d5. And in this position, you could choose to go for a move like bishop to e6, but your game would be completely blundered just because of this move, because you have rook captures on e6, and if you play f captures, queen caps on e6, that comes to the check into h8, and most likely after knight to g5, you're just getting checkmated no matter what you do. So after queen caps on d5, we have bishop to g4, but here after knight c to e5, here knight caps on e5 was played, queen captures, but now just comes bishop captures, queen captures, rook captures, g captures, rook f to e8, and here both plays in this after a few more moves agreed to go for a draw. But the thing is that draw is not allowed. So what's going to happen is they're going to have to, whatever time they have on their clocks, they're going to have to start a new game, and let's see what happens in that one. So this is their second game. The game starts with f4. This is the bird's opening. We have d5, knight to f3, knight to f6, and just e3. Now we have g6, c4, c6, and here just d4. Bishop to g7, bishop to d3, castles, knight to c3, d captures, bishop captures, and c5. But now just comes castles, immediately going for c caps on d3, knight captures, bishop to b7, and here just king to h1. A very nice prophylactic move. This is the Dutch variation of the bird. Knight to c6 was played, and you could go for a trade in this, but here just b3 was played, just cementing that structure, and also going for bishop to b7 to counter this very strong bishop. But here just comes knight captures on d4, and now you have to take with the e pawn. But the trouble for you is that it's going to be an isolated weak pawn, so how do you defend? And immediately bishop to c6 was played. This is threatened. Somewhere along the line, you're going to move the knight out of the way. Wherever you move it, this is going to be threatened, and you don't have that many chances or pieces to be able to defend this. So here f5 was played, and Hikaru's position right from the opening is not good enough. If you go for the move knight to e4 in this position, your position could be really, really nice. But the thing is that after knight captures, you play queen caps on d4, and now you don't capture first. If you capture first, then your position becomes bad. So after queen captures, now you play bishop captures on d3, and if you try to go for a move like bishop to h6 in this position, then just comes bishop caps on a1, and after bishop caps on f8, rook caps on a1. You will be really lucky if you get this position, because here after bishop captures, your position is absolutely amazing, and most likely you'll be winning this game against the bold number 2. So here after f5, none of this was played. Instead of knight to e4, Gukesh used to go for this knight to d5 line. But the thing is that here after bishop captures, and just going for this bishop to g5, the position has almost equalized. But here bishop to c6, now just comes this bishop to e3, and the move that you want to play is queen to d6. And queen to d6 is a move that your position just really, really blossoms after this, because here if you try to go for d5, bishop captures, now just comes this bishop caps on e1, queen captures, and queen to c6. You think you have something here, you really don't, because this comes in, and even if you take stakes, it doesn't do anything, and most likely this game will be won by Gukesh. But here after bishop to e3, queen to d7 was played, and queen to d7 allows a very nice tactic for Hikaru to get, which is this d5. Now bishop captures doesn't work, because after captures, this comes with a tempo on the queen, and you're really not gonna like that. So here bishop to b5 was played, but now just comes knight captures, queen captures, and Hikaru has solved all of its problems. Rook to c1, rook a to d8, rook to c5 was played, but now the queen goes back, f captures, and here we have a trade of rooks as well. Bishop to g1, b6 now, but in this position just rook to c2 was played, rook to f5, and rook to d2, but now just comes bishop to e5, and queen to c2 was tried, bishop to d6, queen to c4, and here just h5. So definitely still the momentum is with black, and you can try to win this game. Queen to e4 was played, but king to h7, but now just comes rook to f2, rook captures, bishop captures, queen to f5, and if you trade the endgame, this pawn is going to be weak, and that's what Gukesh is betting on. Queen captures was played by Hikaru nonetheless. G captures g3 now, but he starts to bring the king into the game. King to g2, f4 was tried, but here king to f3, king to f5, and bishop to d4, but now just comes this f captures, h captures, bishop to e5, and bishop to e3, but just bishop to c3, bishop to f4, bishop to b4, and in this position, you have to be extremely cautious. Here bishop to b b8 was played, but this is not a good move in this position. Now a6, just moving the bishop out of the way, bishop to a7, and the way you want to win this game is just really, really marvelous. If you're able to find this out, you can just pause the video and try to find out the best move in this position, but I'm just going to show it nonetheless. The move is bishop to c5. And now you are in a lot of trouble, because if you try to go for bishop to b8 and try to get the bishop out of the way and try to create this kind of setup where king cannot enter and try to capture that pawn, just bishop to d6. And if you trade this, there is no way in any form or in any variation of the chess where you can try to get there until and unless you are with it. But the thing is that after bishop to a7, bishop to c7 you try to go for, and this bishop is locked out of the game forever. King to e3, just king to e5, king to d3, king captures. Next I'm going there and I'm just picking up the bishop. I'll be a complete piece up. This position is gonna completely be winning. But here after bishop to a7, b5 was played, and b5 is a move that draws the game. Here bishop to d4, both players by the way are playing on seconds on the clock, so obviously we cannot blame them. Bishop to a3, bishop to c3, now just comes bishop to d6, bishop to d4, and here in this position you can try to go out till the very end, and they did as well. a5, a4, b captures, bishop to e5, bishop to b6, bishop to c3, and bishop to c7. But the thing is that this position is still a draw, and in this position Gukesh just goes for the other pawn, and what he does is basically he gives up the bishop, and this position just basically ends to a draw as well. So what happens now, because both players are now down to less than 1 minute, so what's going to happen is they're going to play another bullet game. That's going to be 1+1, and I'll be showing that game, and hopefully that's a decisive one. Otherwise we just continue to play. So this is the bullet game that they're going to be playing with 1+1, and in this position Hikaru goes for b4. We have e6, bishop to b2, knight to f6, a3, and d5. This is the Polish opening. We have e3, bishop to d6, and just c4. And now castles was played, knight to f3, c6. And if you're thinking why not just go for c5 and push the bishop back, you could do that, but after d4 the thing is that your structure is not that good, as you're supposed to be knight after d7, you play bishop to e3, f5 comes, and your position is absolutely fine as well as black. So here c6, we have d4, but now just comes knight bd7, knight bd2, and here just going for a5, but just c5 comes, and now moving the bishop to c7, b5 immediately. But the thing is that here after c captures, bishop captures, now just comes this b6, and you have c6, but knight goes to b8, and it looks like here momentum is with white, but that's not the case, as you'll see, because here a4 was played, knight to a6, and just castles immediately, knight to b4 in this position. And what do you play? If you play a move like bishop to a3, position is fine because you're pinning this, so better is just to move it out of the way. And after knight to e5, now either you capture and you just let go of all of the problems that you have with the bishop pair, but you will lose the bishop pair, or you could go for this rook to e7, which is a very, very passive move. But again, just making sure that you remaneuver the knight to a decent square, and maybe with ideas of f6, so that you can just push this knight off as well. So you could do this, but after knight to b4, knight to e5 was played, and here just bishop to d6, and you give one square and one move to Gukesh, and he finds the move that's supposed to be played. Rook to c1, just knight to e8. You cannot push now. It's been protected 3 times. So here just knight to d3, knight to c7, knight caps on b4, and after a captures, bishop to d3 was played. But the thing is that now Gukesh's position is better even, and he finds the right idea. Bishop to a6, bishop captures, rook captures, e4 was played, trying to go towards the center. You cannot play like this when you're playing towards the queen side. You have all the pieces towards the king side. You try to go for b4, and then you start to play towards the center. It just doesn't work out that way. So queen to a8, e captures, knight captures, now just going for this very nice knight to e4, but now just moving the bishop out of the way, and that comes with tempo. So here rook to c4, now just comes rook to c8, and here just g3, but just bishop to b8, and queen to c2 was played, but comes rook captures on a4, and now you're not just grabbing 1 pawn, you're grabbing 2 pawn. Knight to g5 was tried, but now just comes g6, not allowing any checkmating ideas. Rook to c1, but here just going for this bishop to d6. Queen moves out of the way. We have b5 pushing the rook back, rook goes back, and now just b3, rook goes all the way back. We have rook caps on c6. So now Gukesh is up 2 pawns, and this position might just be winning for him because this bishop is locked out of the way forever. And here rook c to d1 was played, but rook a to c4, queen to f3, and both players are obviously playing all of these moves with seconds on the clock because this is a bullet game after all. Queen to e8 was the move that here Gukesh had to spot, because here if you go for knight to e4 trying to stir some trouble, hey, just rook to c2, and the thing is that I'm trading off, and I'm trading off in a winning position. Queen captures, rook caps on d2, and this most likely game ends in a draw, or ends basically with Gukesh being better, although you could draw this as well, but you have to play really, really precisely. But after queen to f3, queen to b7 was played. Queen caps on b3 now, but you just lose the pawn, and now you've not created a pair of rooks. This pawn is not going to be as strong as it was in that other line. Rook to b4 was played, but now just comes queen to f3, rook b to c4, and here just going with the knight back, bishop to e7, knight to c5, and here queen to c8, knight to d3, bishop to d6, knight goes back, and Hikaru is just remaneuvering. He's very happy with the draw as well, but just b4, rook to a1, bishop captures on c5. Bishop captures on c5 is not a good move in this position, because after d captures, this bishop comes alive and there could be checkmating ideas you have to be careful, very careful about. So here rook captures on c5 was played, rook d to d1, rook to c2, and here just bishop to d4, rook to c4 now, bishop to e5. But the move that you want to play is queen to d7. You want to defend this knight at any cost. After rook captures, if you try to go for this, then just comes queen captures, queen to f6. It looks like you're getting checkmated, but after rook to c1 check, you are the one who's getting checkmated after this, because queen is covering this entirety. So obviously you cannot go for that, but in this position h5 was played, and this just completely blunders the game. Now rook captures is an available threat, but in this position here, due to them being very low on the clock, h4 was played, queen to d7 comes. Immediately Gukesh stops the idea, king to h2, king to h7, and he just rook caps on d5, going for it. E captures, and now queen to f6 was played, rook caps on f2, that too with the check. Queen has to go back, so here queen caps on f2, queen to e6, attacking the bishop, but now just bishop to f4, and b3 was played, but now just comes this. And if you now trading everything, now you do have a pass pawn, and this is a draw, but you have to be really careful about this. King to g8 was played, but now the bishop gets in on that diagonal, queen to e4, and now just finally going for this. Now we have a check, king moves back. What you want to do is actually not this check. Queen to f5 check is not the idea, because here after queen captures, g captures, you can understand how scattered your pawn structure is. This is not a draw, you're going to lose this game. So hey, what you want to do here is queen to c8 check, and after king to g2, queen to c2 check, queen to f3, queen to e4 check, and after king to f2, queen to c2 check, and this goes on till like forever, and most likely this will end in a perpetual. But after king to h3, king to f8 was played, and king to f8 is unfortunately is not a good move, because it just, he thought that maybe he is getting away after queen to g7, and yes, that is true, but the thing is that Hikaru finds the right idea. With seconds on his clock, he plays queen to d8, and unfortunately that is checkmate. And with this, Gukesh lost this game. He had a chance to be able to try and win this game, but unfortunately in time scramble he was not able to find the right moves, and after that this game ended in a not so favorable event for him. But it's absolutely fine. The thing is that, I mean, there was a lot of things, a lot of games where it could have gotten our way. Even in Arjun's games against Fabi, that was very much important that he won that game, because that's the starting position. Even if you're able to draw it, that's fine, but losing is definitely not something that is favorable to the entire team. But it happens. I mean, it's an exhibition match. Not everyone is taking it very seriously, and if it's not even about seriousness, it's about that sometimes the things don't go your way. This day it definitely didn't go India's way at all. There were a lot of matches which could have gone India's way, but it did not. Events were not favorable, things were not favorable, and that's absolutely fine. Sometimes it happens. Today was definitely not India's day, but that's absolutely fine, because we will bounce back. And all I can say, from a perspective of a content creator, all I can say is congratulations to USA for getting a decent victory. And as a perspective of a chess player myself and a devout Indian fan, all I can say is enjoy your victory while it lasts. Let's see you in the next Checkmate event, and that's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with such amazing games. Stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.